Hello everybody, and welcome to another game of StarCraft 2. This time we have aTnDarkforce spawning here as the Red Zerg. Darkforce playing for Team Alternate. He is a German player known for his very good macro-style play, known for his strong Zerg play, but when pressed or when the situation presents itself, he is also willing to go for the more all-in styles. He's willing to put it all on the line and try to win a game right then, right there. And his opponent spawning as the blue Zerg is going to be Mavagins, but don't be fooled, Mavagins is just another word for SlayerSMMA. That's right, the Code S Korean player, part of Boxer's Team Slayers, and he is going to be facing off here on MLG's Metalopolis Cloaked. It's an interesting map in that it has this neutral supply depot hanging out at the bottom of every ramp for the spawn positions. And what this supply depot really does is just prevent Zerg players from getting really boxed in by either bunkers and supply depots or pylons. It does not get rid of all the normal early Terran aggression that is possible or Protoss aggression, but it just kind of prevents that really overwhelming style of play that Zerg players have had so much difficulty dealing with on the standard ladder versions of these maps. Another interesting quirk about this map is that the close spawn positions are completely disabled. You cannot spawn by ground with your opponent. So MMA realizes that his opponent could not be down here, and and Darkforce realizes that his opponent could not be over here, and he is sending out his drone, realizing he's scouted over here. Didn't see MMA, so he's not wasting his time with this position, sending the drone directly cross positions, and he's going to scout out MMA, and he's going to scout out this 2 racks coming down. This is a very standard play for Terran versus Zerg. This double racks allows a Terran player to do a couple of things: pump out tons of Marines, send Marines over with SCVs, build bunkers, and sometimes just win the game by bunkering up here, or even here behind the mineral lines of a natural expansion. The other thing it does is that by skipping gas, it allows them to get a lot of minerals very quickly, build a second command center, and then use all the Marines they produced to expand down to this natural expansion here. And we have Darkforce, for his part, setting up his natural. He's going with a fairly standard Zerg play. He has his gas already up, mining happily. He's got a spawning pool nearly finished. And I don't see too many Marines coming out for MMA. At least there's only one heading across the map. We have one SCV over here, and if this is going to be an early 2 racks pressure, I would expect to see at least one more SCV. And I would also expect to see this SCV starting a bunker right away. So I would like to think that this is going to be a 2 racks into expansion and maybe some slight pressure. I see a couple of Marines heading on over here to meet up with this one, but it looks like he's just going to fall back. This hatchery is already finished. The creep is going to be spreading out and preventing any kind of bunker placement in all the sweet spots. And all these Zerglings are out, so I think that Darkforce is not going to have to deal with any kind of early pressure. But MMA, for his part, is taking over this watchtower. He is aware that some of these Zerglings are coming. He's going to intercept them here, and if he can take all these Zerglings out, 1, 2 goes down, 3 go down with no damage to those Marines, and every little bit counts in a pro-level game, and those Zerglings are going to have to be basically reproduced. That means 1 more egg that cannot be drones. Looks like it's going to be 3 more eggs that can't be drones. Darkforce is producing 6 Zerglings out. He is feeling fairly uncomfortable. He wants to take control back from MMA, and MMA is deciding not even to build his command center in his base. He is feeling strong. He is feeling confident. He knows what the Zerg's doing. He knows what he has, and he's just going to build it right here, which means that he's going to be able to start mining right away. As he upgrades to his orbital command, he won't have to upgrade and then fly, or fly and then upgrade. He's going to get as much mining time as possible. Now we have these barracks falling back into the main base. You will often see Terran players try to set up a large wall-off SimCity style at their natural, but MMA is happy with just this bunker and these Marines, and Darkforce has a ton of Zerglings. He has just a whole bunch of Zerglings heading out. He has Zergling speed nearly finished. So for not having produced drones, he's going to have to get some value out of these Zerglings. Otherwise, they are essentially wasted units. Every 2 of these Zerglings could have been 1 drone, and that would have been just a much better situation here. This bunker is in an interesting spot, but Darkforce deciding not to run up the ramp. He's going to go for 1 SCV here. He could have run right up the ramp and gone to town on the SCVs in this mineral line, but he was not confident in that. He took all the damage from the bunker that he could have. MMA is going to be feeling happy about that. I'm surprised that he has not tried to wall off this section here, as running up that ramp would be just a great little strategy there. It would take a while for the Marines to get up there, but now there are too many Marines between the bunker, the supply depot here, and these others hanging out. There is no chance for those Zerglings to do much damage at all. The time of the early Zergling has passed, and we are going to be moving into a third. So we're going for a third expansion for Darkforce. Realizing that since MMA has taken his natural expansion, he wants to be up on bases. He wants to try to stay even macro-wise, and so he's going to take an extra base here, try to get that saturated as quickly as possible. Still only one gas mining. I'm not seeing any other extractors going down yet for Darkforce, so he is setting up his Roach Warren, not moving into the higher layers of tech, feeling confident that he can do some damage with Tier 1, maybe looking for an odd timing where the Terran is not expecting him. Darkforce known for his more macro-style play, so if he can go with some crazy early aggression or some very odd roach timing with Lings, he might be able to do a lot of damage. But already, MMA setting up with his third command center, simply pumping out SCVs and being used for mules, and we have a couple of Hellions going around the map, setting up map control, clearing up the watchtowers, and Blue Flame, the Infernal Pre-Igniter that turns these Hellions into just Zergling and drone roasters, is going to be nearly finished, and with these other two Hellions on the field, I suspect that MMA is going to get in and try to do quite a bit of damage to either the Zerglings, or if he can, he would prefer to do as much damage to the drones as possible. But we are going to be getting two Roaches coming out for Darkforce, and now that he's got these Hellions, you can be sure that some more Roaches will be coming out. Roaches are just the counter to Hellions. If they can get a couple hits off of them, they are just going to go to town, destroy them. Even Blue Flame Hellions, because that Blue Flame, as you can see, only does bonus damage to light. That means Zerglings, that means drones, that means Marines. Not that we're going to see a whole lot of Hellion on Marine action in this game, but the point is, Roaches are not light, and they have base 1 armor, which means that Hellions do only 7 damage to them a shot, making them extremely resilient. But now we have some good aggression coming in. A bunch of Roaches coming down. Those Hellions are forced to retreat right away. And it looks like MMA is deciding not to do any kind of extra pressure here. These Hellions got caught out of position, going down the wrong path, probably thinking to swing over to this third, but they get intercepted completely. And the Hellion goes down from a shot from those very aggressive Roaches. But MMA was able to take out the active creep tumors over here, except for this one hanging out in the back, and that is going to be pretty huge. Zerg players rely on this creep highway spread all over, and if you can kill those first couple of creep tumors, that is crippling. You can see the creep already going. It's already starting to recede, and Darkforce needs to get a queen over there, place down some more creep tumors, because he's going to need that speed if he wants to keep his bases under control. Otherwise, the Terran player is going to run around with these Hellions and just completely outpace all of the Zerg units. And now we have a Zergling going down for free. That's the end of that guy. Checking out the watchtowers, not seeing much going on, but we have a Roach sitting here on this watchtower, able to deal a lot of damage to Hellions, but there are Marines coming over, and these Marines are going to make quick work of the Roach. Roach not even getting one hit off. Those Marines just completely crushing it down, taking it for free. And now more Roaches chasing these Hellions off. Third base for Darkforce going down pretty well. We have a Spire coming in, and he's going to probably be going for, do we see a Baneling? Yes. I expect to see Baneling, Zergling, Mutalisk from Darkforce. That is an extremely powerful build, but hold the phone. We have MMA. He doesn't care. He's going for the gold. This is not even a planetary fortress. That orbital command that he had built in his base, producing SCVs and mules, is now going to be mining away at the gold. But now there are some some Zerglings running into the SCV line. Not going to be able to do a whole lot. I don't think they got even one kill before the Marines drove them away. But now there are Zerglings hanging out in MMA's base. Looks like we're going to get one SCV kill. And there was, I think, building canceled. I think that was an armory canceled because he was aware that he realized that he was already building another one over by his natural. And now here comes the fourth base from MMA, going macro style terror, and he has 68 workers. He is out producing the Darkforce in workers, and now we got a huge engagement sitting here on Darkforce's side of the map. Great siege line. Those 4 siege tanks able to go to town, go to work on these Roaches, completely blowing them away. And now we have a scan coming down, trying to get rid of some of these creep tumors, or at least get an idea for where Darkforce's army is. Looks like we're seeing a Baneling Roach Zergling this time. The Roaches, no doubt, to deal with the Hellions, and they can do fairly well against the siege tanks if the tanks do not get a ton of shots off of. And now we have Darkforce coming in from the top, and coming in from the bottom, from the north and from the south, coming in, destroying all those siege tanks. Now we got banelings going after these marines. Marines are going to stim up, kill all the banelings, but now these roaches and mules taking down the rest of these marines, and that attack was completely thwarted. But I'm worried about Dark Force's chances here. MMA has this gold. It's going to town. It is mining. It is muling. And even more importantly, he has this sensor tower in probably the most ideal position you could. There is not a better spot to put that sensor tower because it allows him to see movement on the entire critical section of the map. That highway is the only real viable spot for Zerg players to move around. Mutalisks sure can fly up and around. Nidus worms could get all over the place. Overlords can do some drops, but for the most part, Zerg players are most comfortable running through that highway, that Metalocalypse highway. Sitting on the rooftop here. I don't know why they put a highway on the roof. Whatever, doesn't matter. We have Dark Force realizing, is he aware of that? He is not aware of this fourth base, but he is aware of the gold, and that's enough for him to try to take his own fourth. He knows that he is falling way behind on the macro, and speaking of macro, MMA is keeping his money low. He is producing just a crazy amount of upgrades in units. Look at that. Unbelievable amount of units. Getting his upgrades down, getting his vehicle weapons 1, getting his Terran infantry and armor level 1. And I'm sorry, level 2. And this gold is just, the longer he holds this, the more of an overwhelming advantage he is going to be. A Terran player that is holding the gold is extremely difficult for Zerg to break. But hold the phone, we have a ton of Mutalisks in the base, taking out a missile turret, going for this engineering bay. That armor upgrade is going to be ended right there. These SCVs were on the way to repair, and that thing went down and they all stopped. The Mutalisks are forced to run away because of these stim marines, and we got a couple more missile turrets coming down, but the Mutalisks hanging out on the edge. What are they going to do? They might go back in there for another swoop. They might go for a nice little hit and run. Mutalisks, fastest air units in the game, aside from Phoenixes, and I would say that they are the best harassing air units in the game. They are so fast. The splash damage does just an amazing amount of extra damage to everything, and they can go from here to here to here to here in a blink of an eye, making it very difficult for a Terran player to keep up. But now we have Dark Force moving out, scouting around. I think he's just trying to figure out what MMA is doing, where he's hanging out. Now we get the Mutalisks over here. We're going to pick off a siege tank for free. This missile turret was going to town for a long time on those Mutalisks, doing a lot of damage, but it looks like its days are numbered. It got burned down completely. These SCVs watched it burn, didn't even bother to repair. They are too happy with their gold minerals. They love those minerals, mining away. And now we got MMA nearing maxed out, getting Thors, really macroing up again. He has constantly had a supply of siege tanks and marines, constantly building them out, and Dark Force is in an okay spot. He has the potential to take this game back if he can get a good engagement, if he can get a good surround on his opponent. But right now, I'm going to have to say that he is on the back foot, and we have a drop coming in. Going to get cleaned up pretty easily by Dark Force. Luckily, his mutants were in position to deal with that, and Zerglings rushing in, and this Queen even taking a little bit of damage. Taking one for the team, getting all shot up by those Marines so that the drones don't have to. And this base almost getting mined out. Natural is still doing pretty good. I think that the saturation could be better on the natural. Saturation really good on his third. Very nice on his fourth. And we have a fifth coming down, but there's a drop sitting here. These Marines are aware of this base, but now we have Mutalisks coming in from the south, dealing with this, dealing with all the missile turrets. There are really no SCVs over here, but taking care of this command center, morphing to a planetary fortress. And MMA is just going to let it fall. He doesn't care. He already has 4 bases and a gold. He has nearly mined out the gold. That is a ton of minerals. That is a ton of economy. And while he might be supply locked from losing that command center, he is going to move out and try to do some damage. Going for this spot, trying to take out this new base. He's already taken out this base with his Marines. And we have the siege tanks setting themselves up against the wall. Thor coming in, and now Marines pushing ahead with some stim. Scans going down to try to take down some creep tumors. And I would have to say that this positioning is basically going to allow MMA to push forward with Marines, stim, run back into these siege tanks, stay very safe. And Dark Force has to do something, but here he comes. He's sending a couple banelings after these Marines, separating them from the siege tank. All the siege tanks go down. The Thor's getting surrounded by Zergling. But there are now so many Marines left over. Good pickup by the medevacs, saving those siege tanks inside their cargo carriers. In between all these Marines, and there's no more banelings, no more Zergling. We got a bunch coming out, a bunch morphing, 31 banelings morphing, but this hatchery is getting shelled to hell by these siege tanks. These Mutalisks cannot approach the siege tanks at all. Too many Marines covering it. Medevacs just healing up from all that damage. These medevacs are actually almost out of energy, but I don't think it's going to play a whole lot of a role as there are more medevacs coming in. But I hear a Nidus. We got Nidus action coming in. Banelings Darkforce is trying to even things up. He doesn't think he can defend right away, so he is not unloading his knights. Oh, this is critical. That knight has got to unload, but it looks like only 2 or 3 banelings made it up before it was destroyed by Marines. And that is huge, and these Mutalisks getting destroyed while the banelings were being unloaded and destroyed. And I get the feeling that that is going to be the end of this, and Darkforce does call the GG.